The Women's World Cup should not be played on artificial turf by Keely Taylor. There are many dangers and disadvantages to playing soccer on artificial turf. Some of these are higher player injury. It's really hard on your joints. Like when I jump up sometimes to head the ball or just to get the ball in the air, when I come back down, it hurts. Sometimes I wonder if I've pulled something or cracked something. It feels that bad. It can cause abrasions and burns more easily than grass when you're sliding and on the ground, which happens a lot in soccer. It has to be disinfected and it retains heat. Not really a good thing for soccer. The line markings can be really confusing because there's line markings not only for soccer but also for football. Evidence shows that injuries are 22% higher on artificial turf than on regular grass. ACL sprains were also 67% higher. Imagine getting hurt knowing that it's the turf's fault. I mean, I know you can get hurt anywhere at any time, but 22% and 67% higher is a lot. It adds up. Artificial turf must be disinfected because pathogens are not broken down by natural processes. Imagine, what if you got a scrape or cut? It could easily be infected by things like feces and urination and the remnants of other disgusting things. I wouldn't want to have an infection because of that. Friction between skin and artificial turf can more easily cause abrasions and burns to the skin than real grass. Soccer is a very high contact sport, not only with people but also with the ground. Just think of all the sliding and the jumping on the ground and the just crazy movements that you see in a soccer game. Would you want to slide and have a big gash that burns like crazy? I wouldn't. When asked if she would be performing diving headers in the Women's World Cup this summer, U.S. forward Abby Wambach said, "I'm not going in for a diving header, no way." She said this because going in for a diving header on the ground would mean scraping your head by turf. Not really a win-win situation there. Here is a picture of U.S. women's soccer player Sydney Leroux's legs after playing on artificial turf. The women's soccer team is trying to ban artificial turf from the Women's World Cup. When playing on artificial turf, you can also get a joint sprain called turf toe. Turf toe is from too much contact on rigid surfaces, like jumping on the balls of your feet and stuff. So, that happens a lot in soccer, and it's more than possible that a lot of people are going to be getting turf toe. It's because turf toe is caused by artificial turf that doesn't have enough give. Real grass does. Artificial turf is much hotter than real grass because it retains heat from the sun. There is also evidence that shows that you can get a heat stroke from artificial turf. I know personally that whenever I'm on artificial turf and it's hot, I can feel the heat radiating off of the turf. I know it doesn't sound possible, but think about a track. Whenever you're running on a track and it's hot, the heat kind of radiates off of it. Well, artificial turf is pretty much like a track in that sense. In artificial turf, many different lines for football and soccer are sewn into it. This can be super confusing and it kind of throws you off. Like, I play soccer sometimes on artificial turf, and sometimes I think the ball's out, but it's still in, or I think it's still in and it's actually out, and it kind of slows down the game for everyone. Playing on artificial turf can also be very hard on your joints because it doesn't have much give to it. Just imagine jumping on concrete. That hurts, kind of. And that's what artificial turf can be like. Sometimes when I'm jumping on artificial turf, I can actually feel like the air between the artificial turf and the concrete, and it hurts. It doesn't feel very good, and it's easier to get hurt this way. Artificial turf can also cause cancer. People may think that it's not artificial turf, but it's very possible. The little black beads may be the cause of cancer, and it mostly is common in goalies. This is because goalies are on the ground more than other players. The beads get into their cuts, scrapes, and mouths. The beads contain carcinogens and chemicals that may be making them have cancer. I know you say, well, cancer is cancer, you don't just get it from on turf, but there's a lot of evidence that shows that that is possible. Just think, would you want your kids playing on artificial turf, knowing that they could get cancer, cuts, abrasions, or severely hurt their joints? I wouldn't.